Starting off at number 10, we have the model and actress Cara Delevingne. The young celebrity took to social media to confess that the modeling industry has left her feeling hollow. Even though the well-known star has been making millions for walking down a runway, she still is not satisfied with who she is as a person, or who she was, because she quit modeling, and I'll get to it. She has stated that having a career in modeling makes someone feel so superficial that you actually forget who you are. The detrimental affairs that come with working in modeling caused for her to struggle with mental health and depression. She also noticed that when she wasn't spending her money on others, they were conveniently not around her. She admitted that she feels old and run down due to her career path, even though at her age, she's young, she should be enjoying herself and all the money that came with her fame. Good news is, like I mentioned, she has now retired from the modeling industry and is spending time living life for herself. Following along to our next spot at number 9 is Keanu Reeves. The actor is a household name that starred in some of the most popular films in history, which sounds like a dream. During his early days in Hollywood, he was met with partying, fame, and fortune, but it wasn't long for him to realize that this lifestyle was not fulfilling to him. Being as famous as he is, you would expect the actor to enjoy the finer things and enjoy his financial success. But on the flip side, he has been very vocal about how little he cares about the money that he makes. Throughout his life, he has been met with great tragedy with the loss of his best friend and fiance. It made him realize that he does not need the great amount of money that he has to live a real and happy life. Therefore, the star reportedly gave his entire salary from The Matrix away and is known for donating millions to charity. Additionally, he acknowledges that money is the last thing he thinks about, as the actor doesn't dictate success with money and holds no emotional value in fortune. This mentality has led him to live a happier and more interpersonal successful life. Good on him. That's all I gotta say. He does do a lot of charity work. Moving on to number 8, we have Kristen Stewart. Kristen found her big break and made a fortune being the leading lady in the Twilight franchise. Though this was not met with a lavish lifestyle filled with happiness, believe it or not. Her Twilight era saw major criticism of all kinds towards the actress, and even though it was a career-defining moment for her, she has tried her hardest to move past her role as Bella Swan. The actress has since taken many roles, but has fallen under the radar, some would say, compared to Twilight, we should say. Though this comes with satisfaction, as Kristen has tried her hardest to remain antisocial from the media because she could actually care less about fame and money. The star has stated that her intention was never to become famous and that she finds the most joy when she's enjoying her craft of simply acting. Many are quick to assume fame and money is just met with happiness, but she could not disagree more. And spot number 7 is Lindsay Lohan. The actress is not new to the fame and headlines, as she has been in the spotlight basically her entire life. Though during her teen years she was rich and a mess, according to the media. The fame and fortune left the celebrity with numerous times in rehab and a lot of bad press. Though her troubles cannot be mentioned without acknowledging the influence that fame and money had in navigating her towards this behavior. I can only imagine how hard that would be. With an entire life lived in the eye of the public, with constant criticism towards her appearance, choices in romantic relations, her behavior was a reaction to this very unhealthy relationship that she had with her amount of fame. As Lindsay has aged, ironically, she's lost a lot of her fortune, though she is seemingly living a happier and quieter life. She's coming back. She has a podcast coming out, y'all. Moving on to the number 6 spot, we have the infamous Justin Bieber. The celebrity started his career very young and has been in the spotlight ever since he was 13 years old. Being in the spotlight at such a young age definitely comes with its downfalls, and it's known that he has had a very hard time in Hollywood. He's very open about it. With his mix-up with the law and disrespecting his fans, it seems like it's just bad behavior, but this all comes from a darker place. Bieber has confessed that he often struggles to get through the day for how lonely he feels when he's touring. He continued and also said that the fame and celebrity lifestyle rips you apart. When you can't just do anything alone, you get depressed, which doesn't seem like it should happen, but apparently it does. Justin said he would not wish this lifestyle upon anyone. Also, his song Lonely is basically to sum up this entire paragraph that I just said. He talks about how he can have everything in the world and still feel lonely. I was gonna sing some, but I won't. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Lady Gaga. The singer is one of the most well-known celebrities, let's be honest. In a revealing interview, the singer confessed her personal struggles with fame. She acknowledged that when she goes out in the world, she belongs to everyone else but herself. The singer also stated that she is upset about the fact that it is legal for people to follow her, to stalk her, and that she can't do anything about it besides simply accept it because of who she is. During the interview, the singer began tearing up talking about her helplessness when it comes to privacy and her personal well-being. She also stated that she has transformed into a different person since she has become a celebrity, and once she began getting recognized in public, it changed every interaction that she ever has with people. The singer confessed that she wishes she could go anywhere and just meet strangers without the factor of being recognized. Next in line on the countdown, taking the number 4 spot, is Selena Gomez. The young star's struggle with an illness always set her back, especially when she was originally trying to hide her lupus diagnosis from the public. Starting her career as a Disney child star, she has adapted her career to be the strong woman and talented singer that she's known to be now. But this wasn't done as swiftly as it sounds. Selena has admitted that during her Disney phase, she felt very violated because she didn't have any control over this because she didn't quite understand fame during that time. And while now she's more control over this as she has aged, she still isn't over her struggles of being in the spotlight. Being a young woman in the media, she is met with constant criticism, little to no privacy, and all her relationships on display for everyone to comment on. Justin Bieber, but we won't get into that. This has led the star to struggle with life in the spotlight and its effect on her mental and physical health. Therefore, no matter how many followers you have or how rich you are, the personal struggle and criticism is always going to be there. I think she is the most followed person on Instagram still. Fact check me, but I think she is. Or she's close. Taking one of the top spots at number 3 is Billie Eilish. The pop star sensation took Hollywood by storm at the age of 17, and she is one of the most famous celebrities in the entire world. Though being in the spotlight did not help solve her struggle with mental illness. Billie has constantly struggled with anxiety before and after stardom. The singer has even admitted that when touring, her anxiety is even worse, and there was actually a week on tour where she had panic attacks every night for a week straight. And only recently has the singer come out to reveal the struggle to live with Tourette's syndrome, especially when she was trying to hide it in the spotlight. Obviously that made things much harder. There have been many ways for which she tries to regain her personal self and hold on her privacy, and one of those ways is through her fashion. We all know that Billie is known for wearing extremely baggy clothes, but this choice was not because of preference. Well, it was because of preference, but there was a reason behind it. The singer has revealed multiple times that her choice to wear these baggy clothes is because she didn't want the world to just know everything about her, so it's kind of a way to protect herself. Continuing down the list, number 2, we have Demi Lovato. The talented actor and singer was once known for their time on Disney, starring in multiple shows while simultaneously touring the world for their music. But with all the money that came with this very busy lifestyle, it didn't compare to the constant personal struggle and exhaustion that the celebrity faced. And there became a point where Demi had to step back and take a break from the spotlight to choose to work on themselves instead of continuing their current mentally unsustainable lifestyle. After spending time in rehab and therapy to deal with their mental illnesses, Demi decided it was the right time to come back into the spotlight. This new Demi was a healthy-minded, body-positive person who wasn't worried about the money they make, but was more concerned on who they allowed into their life. Ironically, when Demi came back into the spotlight and was transparent about their mental health issues, they became more famous for being so true to themselves. Finally, we've made it to number 1, and we have Amy Winehouse. This is one of the more devastating cases on this list because Amy had such a successful career in the industry but was very abused in the media. You can actually check out her documentary, you guys. I think it's on Amazon Prime. It was so good. Anyways, check it out. Though no one can argue that her fame and fortune was very well deserved for her amount of talent. But even though Amy made millions during her short career in music, she had a lot of troubles. Her struggles were partially due to her substance addiction, but mostly due to her sudden rise to fame and how that put a great amount of stress and shock on her. With no idea of how famous she would become, she was unprepared for the fame that she received. Because of this great amount of fame, the media began exploiting her for her addiction. Throughout this, she often got lost and felt depressed, which spiraled into getting involved with the wrong crowd and the wrong things. A number of people close to the singer shared that she had little to no interest in being a celebrity. The money meant nothing to Amy, she truly only wanted to be a singer. The singer did not have a big fancy house or any materialistic things that didn't really matter to her. Sadly, with the unknowingly amount of fame and fortune that she would receive, also just came a lot of depression and stress. In the documentary, y'all, it's really crazy to see what she went through.
These two met in 2016 on the set of Spider-Man: Homecoming. Tom said in an interview that he and Zendaya were the best of friends and he was taking her advice on how to deal with his newfound fame. Then in 2017, it was first rumored that the two were dating, but the pair denied it. Dating rumors were never confirmed until 2021 when paparazzi snapped photos of Tom and Zendaya making out in a car. And since they have been very open on social media about their relationship, there is no doubt they are a serious item. So serious they're actually moving in together. It's been reported that their home will be in London. It's a 6-bedroom mansion in Richmond, which Tom bought for £3 million last month. Tom already owns a flat in London, while Zendaya owns a home in Los Angeles. They're also planning to renovate their new home, having a current rental budget of £250,000. They'll be adding a gym, cinema, and a man cave, among other things. The Richmond property Tom bought for himself and his girlfriend is 4 miles away from Kingston upon Thames, where Tom's childhood home is. A source said about their move, quote, "Tom has spent quite some time making this house into his perfect home, and Zendaya has been visiting him in London, so let's see. They're Hollywood's hot young couple and don't want to be apart." According to Celebrity Net Worth, Tom Holland and Zendaya have net worths of $18 million and $15 million respectively. Let's break down how they make their money. Let's start with Zendaya. Zendaya has multiple properties that she's purchased with her fortune. Zendaya paid $1.4 million for a home in Northridge, California, and $4 million for a 5,000 square foot home in Encino, California. Zendaya first started acting on the Disney Channel when she was 14, getting a co-starring role on Shake It Up alongside Bella Thorne. She's also modeled since she was just a child. We have no way to estimate what she made from these roles, but former Disney stars have admitted that they didn't make much from the Disney Channel. Her main fortune came from the MCU. At 21, she landed the role of MJ in Spider-Man. According to Stylecaster, she made $2 million for Spider-Man: No Way Home. She had a small role in the movie Dune, but still made a pretty $300,000 payout from the role. She acted alongside Timothée Chalamet. Another one of her biggest projects has been acting as Rue in the hit HBO series Euphoria. Not only has it brought her tons of recognition and accolades, like winning her an Emmy, but she's reportedly earned a huge chunk of change from the movie. It was estimated that her net worth was only $5 million before joining the show. On top of acting, she's also produced movie Malcolm and Marie, in which she also starred, again earning her a handsome amount. Since we know Zendaya truly does it all, she's also released a book about style, something she does very well. The 2013 book is called Between You and Me: How to Rock Your Tween Years with Style and Confidence. She's also been the face of huge brands like Madonna's Material Girl clothing line, CoverGirl, Lancome, Valentino, Bulgari, and more. Zendaya also created her Daya shoe collection in 2015 and the Daya by Zendaya clothing line the following year. We don't have exact figures for all of these ventures, but it can be assumed that she's made well over a couple million for all of these combined. According to Celebrity Net Worth, Zendaya's net worth is an estimated $15 million as of 2022. This is thanks to over a decade of television and film appearances, along with multiple brand partnerships and sponsorship deals under her belt. Her net worth is $3 million less than Holland's, who is $18 million. Zendaya has opened up about money in the past, and it's a subject that she's a little uncomfortable with. In 2021, she spoke about the topic with British Vogue, admitting she talks about money in therapy, adding, quote, "The hope is to have a career where you can be in a position financially to just do things you want because you enjoy the work and not have to worry about the other things. But I'm always like, I will always need to work because if I don't work, everything can be gone tomorrow." She also admitted that even though she has enough money to buy whatever she wants, Zendaya struggles to spend money on herself, adding, quote, "My mother's a saver, so I try and keep that in mind. Then my dad's like, you know, you can't spend it when you're dead, kind of thing. So I'm somewhere in between." She even has so much anxiety around not making money that she waited until she was 23 years old to take her first vacation. Now moving on to Tom Holland, who's had a very successful career and has made a ton of money from it. Tom was discovered while in school. He was cast in Billie Eilish the musical after a choreographer for the musical thought he would be a great fit. He acted in a few more plays until 2012, when he made his on-screen debut in the movie The Impossible, co-starring Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor. 3 years later, he would get the role of a lifetime, getting cast as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, in 2015. He signed a 6-movie deal with Marvel. The first Marvel movie he appeared in was 2016's Captain America: Civil War, before his first solo film as Spider-Man in 2017's Spider-Man: Homecoming. In a GQ interview, the directors of the movie spoke about how they were blown away when they first saw Tom audition, telling the magazine, quote, "So Holland came in, he did his test. We called Sarah straight after and said, oh my god, he's incredible. He's a movie star. He's got the charisma, he's got the range." It's very rare someone walks into a room who has all the elements that make up a bona fide star. Now you're probably wondering how much he makes from helming a massive franchise like Spider-Man, and obviously it's a lot of money. So far he starred in 3 Marvel movies: 2017 Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2019 Spider-Man: Far From Home, and 2021's Spider-Man: No Way Home. According to Celebrity Net Worth, Holland made $500,000 for Spider-Man: Homecoming, the MCU's first Spider-Man movie, but he got a massive raise for his next movie, Spider-Man: Far From Home, which made him $4 to $5 million, with at least $1.5 million in bonuses based on the movie's performance, according to Celebrity Net Worth. The site also estimated that he made the same amount for his next movie, Spider-Man: No Way Home, and is set to have the same salary for future Spider-Man movies. Although we would assume he made much more in bonuses from No Way Home, as that movie was one of the most successful films of the entire year. Since Holland is a part of the MCU now, he also stars in other Marvel-related projects. But since he's not the star, he makes significantly less in these movies. He's been featured in 2016's Captain America: Civil War, 2018's Avengers: Infinity War, and 2019's Avengers: Endgame. According to Celebrity Net Worth, Holland made $250,000 from Captain America: Civil War, which was his first MCU as Spider-Man. The site also reported that Holland made $3 million each for Avengers: Infinity War and Avengers: Endgame, making $6 million in total for both movies, a huge jump from what he started with. Along with starring in MCU films, Holland also played the lead role in 2022 movie Uncharted. It's hard to know the exact figure that he made, but it's speculated that he makes between $5 to $10 million when he stars the lead in commercial studio movies like this one. It's also been reported that he makes between $2 to $5 million for independent movies and around $20 million for a streaming movie. These numbers got a significant bump from his debut as Spider-Man in 2017. Now these two are taking their combined net worth of $33 million and putting it towards their new home together. The home in southwest London is only 4 miles away from Holland's hometown and is situated near other massive stars like Angelina Jolie, Sir Mick Jagger, and Venom star Tom Hardy. Security is apparently the couple's main concern, and they don't want intruders or paparazzi to be able to invade their privacy. Holland has been eyeing a high-tech security and an 8-foot steel security gate on the drive to protect himself and Zendaya. A source close to the couple said, quote, "They are over the moon about the property and getting their first home together. They are very much in love and wanted their first home to be in London, where Tom grew up. Everyone is thrilled for them." Good luck to the happy couple, and hopefully if all goes well in living together, there may be an engagement in the future.
Taking the very first spot on this list, number 10, is the famous supermodel Kendall Jenner. With her whole life being in the spotlight and her family having their own reality TV show called Keeping Up with the Kardashians, when she was growing up, there was a constant pressure on her, she said. A few years ago, the model shared her experience with anxiety and how she has experienced it since she was a very young girl. In an interview with Vogue, Kendall confessed that work culture and the consistent presence of paparazzi has set her anxiety out of control in recent years. Additionally, she acknowledges the privilege that she holds for the lifestyle she has and the fortune that she was born into. Though despite her privileges, she still has everyday and real life struggles that all humans do. Kendall ended one interview by saying, I quote, "No matter what someone has or doesn't have, it doesn't mean they don't have real life feelings." She was trying to make it clear right off the bat that no matter how much money you have, you still cannot buy happiness. Swiftly moving forward to the next spot at number 9 is Katy Perry. The musician has had many hits throughout her career and topped Billboard 100 in the US. With all the success and money that comes with doing what you love, how could this make Katy so unhappy, we might wonder. Well, the artist felt the constant pressure to always be number 1 all the time and to constantly have her name in the media. But with a couple song releases that weren't as successful as her past hits, Katy fell into a serious depression, leaving her to struggle even more internally. The pressure that came with being a celebrity in Hollywood tore Katy apart, and her mental health suffered greatly, she said. Good news is, after acknowledging her mental health struggles, she's been focusing more on herself, her husband Orlando Bloom, and their baby, which has led her now to consistent happiness, and she's now making more music. So it's just wins all around. Moving up the rankings, taking the 8th spot is the Australian singer and actress Natalie Imbruglia. I hope that's right. With her life in the spotlight, Natalie has always been known to find great success in the industry, be extremely wealthy, but also very unhappy. This is because after Natalie's hit song Torn was released and well received, the celebrity fell off the face of the earth and wasn't seen for a while. The singer sold 7 million copies and is one of the highest selling debut albums by a pop and alternative female artist, so why did Natalie run from this newfound fame? Well, Natalie would later confess that it was due to the fact that making a great amount of money and this newfound fame made her feel extremely isolated. She also made it known that the money she gained from the stardom gave her no real comfort because it led unwanted people into her life. I can only imagine how many people start crawling at you when you start getting fame and money. Moving up the charts, taking the number 7 spot is Robert Pattinson. Most actors try and cover up the roles they don't particularly like, but not him. The actor who starred in the very well-known Twilight franchise made it apparent how much he hated starring in that role. While filming, Pattinson's agents were so deeply concerned that he was going to get himself fired for his blatant honesty and careless antics on the film series. They were so worried that they tried their hardest to kind of like sort him out so that he could remain in the series. It had gotten to a point that Robert was so miserable for taking on the prominent role in the Twilight franchise that he had to stop just mentally processing that film and talking about it in interviews. Therefore, even though the Twilight movie series paved the way for his entire acting career, he was the most unhappy he could be during a time where his career was at the highest it has ever been and he was making a fortune for himself. He has since found other opportunities, starring in a range of films, especially focusing on indie films, while also becoming the new Batman. That being said, his unhappy past while starring in the Twilight films will probably always haunt him, because obviously everyone just loves him from that movie. Taking the number 6 spot is the American actor and musician Corey Feldman. In his prime in the 80s, Corey was one of the top actors of all time. This was met with him making a great amount of money and partying with some of the biggest celebrities. But behind all of that, the actor described having a great amount of money to bring a lot of evil in his life. Corey would confess that when he was a young actor, he saw a great amount of wrong things happen behind the spotlight, and he personally was also taken advantage of. The fame and fortune he received by being one of the greatest actors of his time was met with the shocking and disturbing things that happened off camera in Hollywood in the 80s. Which is why, as he got older and left the spotlight, Feldman confessed that he was living a more humble lifestyle and wasn't as well off as he used to be, though actually enjoys living this happier and more simple lifestyle. We've made it to the halfway point. At number 5, we have Dave Chappelle. The comedian had a very well received comedy sketch show. His show tackled heavy topics, but in the classic Chappelle signature comedic style. One would think a comedian that would make it in the industry would be ecstatic, especially since his comedy show was a hit with audiences. Everyone loved the show to a point where the network actually offered Dave $50 million to continue the show. However, he declined the offer. Despite the success of the show, Dave was struggling internally with the concept of his show and the message that it led across. He inevitably didn't want his message to be skewed and taken the wrong way. Therefore, he walked away from the show and the spotlight altogether. He also confessed that the fame was not the scary part that led him to leave the spotlight, but his lack of control over his fame scared him. And when it came down to it, even with a $50 million offer on the table, Chappelle chose himself and his own well-being over fame and a great amount of money. However, this decision has led to an even bigger controversy growing on right now between him and Netflix. You'll probably see it online right now. Articles are everywhere. He's boycotting them. Moving up the charts at number 4 is Kristen Bell. The American actress has been in a wide range of well-known films and TV shows such as Frozen, Gossip Girl, and Bad Moms. The A-list celebrity has made a name for herself in Hollywood, though her fame and fortune isn't all that it seems. In an interview with YouTube, the celebrity confessed her long and serious battle with depression and anxiety. She comes from a family with a history of serotonin imbalance, so it wasn't anything new for the star to grow up with. Even with the stigma against mental health, Kristen has no remorse speaking up about her battle with her own mental health, and even admitted to taking medication for her issues. Even with her being an A-list celebrity and having a great amount of wealth, Kristen continues to struggle with her mental health to this day. She has since become an activist on the matter and an advocate for mental health transparency. Taking one of the top spots on the countdown at number 3 is Ashley Judd. The well-known actress has appeared in People's Magazine's list of the top 50 most beautiful people in the world, but she still struggles with her own mental health and self-doubt. Ashley has had a great and successful career, but quickly learned that all the fame and money that came with her celebrity status just meant nothing for her happiness. Ashley's life behind the screen was met with great conflict and struggle, with having to endure abuse from her family, assault, and just being mistreated in Hollywood, and of course a highly documented terrible divorce. The actress knew if she could not control her mental stability and the issues going on in her life, the career she built for herself and the fortune that she gained was not worth her inner struggle. After being treated in rehab for emotional difficulties and mental health, Ashley emerged as a different person. Now she knows that she doesn't find happiness in the spotlight and making a great amount of money, so she focuses on her charity work and activism for mental health. Taking the second spot on this list is Harrison Ford. You probably know him as his iconic character in the Star Wars films, but he has been in a great number of hit movies and of course is one of the highest and most paid actors in Hollywood. But all this stardom and money is not the life that Harrison wants to live. In a 2010 interview, Harrison stated that the cost of fame well overtook the positives and fortune from it. He admitted that the negatives that came with fame was unanticipated for him and that he never enjoyed it. From the lack of privacy to not being able to go out in public in peace, and the money was just not worth having because he struggled to live a normal life every day that he very much desired. He knows how fortunate he is to have had the opportunities in the industry that he has had, but he didn't become an actor to become rich and famous, he says. He became an actor because he simply enjoyed acting. Because of his hatred for fame, the person who once loved acting and being in films is left with a grumpy man who just wants to live a normal life. Topping the chart by taking the number 1 spot is Evan Peters. He is wildly praised for his acting ability, especially his disturbing and frightening performance in each of his roles in American Horror Story. But after starring in many seasons, he knew he needed a break from the disturbing show, as he said it was taking a toll on his mental health. As Evan explained it, he doesn't like having to tap into his darker side to perform disturbing scenes because that's just not the type of person he is. The actor has also mentioned that having to act as angry and dark as he needs to for the demanding show has really hurt him as a person and is changing him for the worse. For those reasons, Evan knew he needed to take a step back from his sought-out role in the series and stayed away from the horror genre of acting for 2 years after his final performance in the 8th season of the TV show. Fans hoped that this time spent away from the show would let him recover and heal from the trauma that it brought him.
Celebrity Net Worth reports that Pete's net worth is $8 million. Back in 2018 it was only $2 million, so there's been a massive spike in recent years. It's safe to say his fame after his Ariana Grande relationship made a huge difference. If he keeps going at this rate, he could be worth $32 million by 2025. Davidson is best known for his role in Saturday Night Live, but he's been doing stand-up since he was 16 years old. His earliest on-screen appearance was in Philosophy, an MTV comedy series. Then he was featured on some comedy TV reality shows, including a show called Gotham Comedy Live that showcased up-and-coming comedy talent in the area. Then he moved on to get a reoccurring role on TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine before earning a coveted spot on the SNL cast in 2014. Pete got the audition through comedian Bill Hader, who he met when Pete filmed a small role in the 2015 movie Trainwreck. Pete first appeared on SNL during the 40th season at the age of 20, making him the youngest cast member of all time, as well as the first cast member to be born in the 90s. It seems that from the beginning he was a huge hit with fans. He was getting tons of praise in the media for being relatable and tackling serious subjects with his comedy. When the 44th season of Saturday Night Live ended, the Washington Post called Davidson SNL's breakout star and the most memorable performer that season, a huge accomplishment that I'm sure got him a sizable bonus. By now you're probably wondering how much he makes from being on SNL. He's been on the show since 2014, and Celebrity Net Worth reported that back in 2018, his salary was a generous $15,000 per episode. Each season has 21 episodes, making his salary for the entire year roughly $313,000, a nice chunk of change. But since starting that show, he has not only turned into an A-list star, he's become one of the most well-loved members of the cast. So it's not hard to think that he got a raise during this time. It's been reported that top stars at SNL can make up to $25,000 per episode, which would be $500,000 a year. So it's not hard to believe that he might have gotten a raise at one point. And of course, since he's now on SNL, other doors have opened for him in traditional media, including a few movie roles. We know he had small parts in Trainwreck, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Netflix's Set It Up before making it big on SNL. He probably didn't make a ton from this, but I'm sure that was a decent amount. Since those small parts, he's gotten much bigger roles in movies like The Squad and King of Staten Island, which he was not only the main star of, the movie was also based on his life and upbringing in Staten Island. Because the movie was somewhat biographical, Pete wrote the script for the movie and collaborated a lot with Apatow to make the final product. Pete created the movie, which was about a 24-year-old high school dropout and an aspiring tattoo artist who tries to get his life together. Since the movie was based on his life and he had a huge part not only in creating it, but starring in it, we can assume he made a lot of money from the project. Although that was sadly not the case, and the movie bombed at the box office, only making $2.2 million out of its $35 million budget, despite its positive reviews from the critics. Pete also has a comedy stand-up special on Netflix called Pete Davidson: Alive from New York. On top of that, he's had a bunch of big projects coming up, including Meet Cute and The Things They Carried. It's impossible to know what exactly he got paid for these roles, but we can assume it's in the millions. Since Pete joined megastars like Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, and John Cena in DC's Squad, we can assume he made a lot of money, even for his small role. When asked about the role on Jimmy Fallon, Davidson said, quote, "I love superhero movies and I'm a huge James Gunn fan. Then I got a call from James Gunn. He was like, there's this role for you in the movie and you play a guy named Richard Hertz. I was like, dude, that's the greatest. That's so awesome. And yeah, he was nice enough to let me be in it, and it's a thing I still can't believe." Now that Pete is a household name, he's also getting brand deals and sponsorship deals with large companies. Most notably, he was in a commercial for Smart Water. The commercial featured Pete at a tattoo removal clinic. When a technician starts working on his arm, we see the bottle of Smart Water, and Pete says, quote, "I've made a lot of questionable choices, and a couple of them need removing." He says that being dehydrated was most likely not the reason he made these questionable choices, but he said he is now trying to make smarter choices by hydrating with Smart Water. During the commercial, he reflects on other questionable moments from his past, including living in his mom's basement until his late 20s, to hoverboarding rather than walking through a fine dining restaurant. This commercial took inspiration from his real life, as he said during an interview with Seth Meyers that he had to get many of his over 40 tattoos removed. Again, we don't know exactly how much money he made from this, but I would assume it's over $1 million. Pete also did a sponsorship deal with Calvin Klein, adding to his fortune. Pete and the brand agreed for Davidson to take over Calvin Klein's Instagram account and do whatever that he wanted with it. Davidson first changed the brand's profile picture to feature a photo of him, of course. Then Pete's best friend, MGK, joined Pete for a live stream on the brand's account. Both men were wearing Calvin Klein clothing as well as undergarments, which the men showed as they stripped down for one portion of the live. The pair put on a mock photo shoot where they were showing off the brand's loungewear and undergarments. In one part of this photo shoot, Davidson knelt on the couch with his mouth open as MGK rained popcorn down on him from above. Because of how embarrassing and meme-worthy that live was, I hope he got paid a lot for it. Another part of Davidson's wealth is the money he makes from putting on traditional stand-up shows. He even did a full tour in 2016 called Pete Davidson SMD, and I'm sure that he will be embarking on some other tours once the SNL season is done and he's able to freely travel. I assume he only made a small amount back in the day, but at this point he could probably sell out a huge stadium if he tried. The last piece of his net worth are the homes and investment properties that Pete has gained over the years. He currently has 2 homes in his native Staten Island, New York. Back in 2016, Pete reportedly bought his mom a $1.3 million house in his home borough, and in December of 2020, he bought himself a $1.2 million condo a few blocks from his mom's place. The fact that he is still set on living near his mother and taking care of her is just the cutest thing I have ever heard. So what's next for Pete Davidson? We know that he has a ton of projects in the works, and we can assume his affiliation with Kim Kardashian is only going to make him more sought after for money-making opportunities. He might even be featured in the Kardashians' new Hulu show simply called The Kardashians. Not sure if he would make any money from that, but either way it would bolster his celebrity status even more. Another interesting adventure on his horizon is taking off on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin ship. On Monday, March 14, 2022, it was announced that the comedian will be one of the 6-member crew for the 20th launch of the rocket on March 23rd of 2022. I'm not sure if he had to pay for that honor, but if he did, I'm sure it was a lot of money.
At number 10, Marilyn Monroe. Actress Marilyn Monroe was one of the biggest celebrities of the 20th century. She was an icon beloved by so many, and she was super successful in Hollywood. However, behind all of that success was a lot of sadness, and no matter how much money she had, it still didn't make her life much better. Though she had an estimated net worth of about $27 million at the time, a lot of that money couldn't make up for the hardships she faced behind the scenes. She already carried the trauma of her childhood, and according to biographers, Marilyn also struggled with her mental health and found it difficult to cope with her fame. On top of that, each of her 3 marriages ended in divorce, she endured miscarriages and faced illnesses as well. She could buy whatever she wanted for herself and lived a pretty luxurious life, but she still had her demons that money couldn't fix. At number 9, Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra is considered by many to be one of the greatest singers of all time. I mean, he was one of my dad's favorite singers, so he certainly holds a special place in my heart. He was incredibly successful through his entire career and is estimated to have a net worth of about $200 million today. But as great as you would imagine the life of a famous singer to be, turns out that Frank was plagued with unhappiness, according to his son Frank Jr. Frank Jr. has told sources about what his dad was like away from the public eye, saying that his father was often withdrawn and seemed really sad. Frank Sinatra's daughter Tina has also commented on her late father's life, saying that she feels as though her father could have benefited from antidepressants since he was known to experience depression and mood swings throughout his life. The singer reportedly even tried taking his own life on a couple of occasions, so that really just shows you that you never know what someone is going through and that even the rich and famous have their struggles. Before we continue talking about celebrities and their struggles with money and happiness, I would first like to take a moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Princess Diana. Diana was the people's princess. She was loved by so many, made such an impact in a lot of people's lives, and gave back to those in need. She got to live a lavish life as well, as she was part of the royal family, but even with the fame and riches, Diana was terribly unhappy. She faced a number of hardships both in and out of the public eye, and a lot of the pain she experienced stemmed from her marriage to Prince Charles. Though the people loved them, they were not as close and in love as they should have been, and Diana felt trapped. It wasn't until her divorce that she was able to finally find freedom and start her life over again, but for the years leading up to that, the royal riches just couldn't buy her happiness. At number 7, Macaulay Culkin. Former child star Macaulay Culkin was brought into the spotlight very early on in his career. Upon reaching his peak in the 90s after the release of Home Alone, Culkin continued to have a pretty steady career and he made a lot of money, but this money ended up causing a lot of problems for him. He struggled with his own fame and by the age of 16 decided to take a step back from the fame. The actor also got emancipated from his family after his fame and riches caused a rift in their relationship. After getting emancipated from his family, Macaulay went down a dark path and started getting himself in trouble. After getting into trouble with the law and abusing illegal substances, the actor found himself back in the spotlight again, but this time for his fall from grace. Everyone knew him as the adorable child star from the 90s, and soon his image became tarnished. He was on cloud 9 when he was younger, but soon when money started to become a big part of his life, it slowly started falling apart, which as you could imagine would make anyone unhappy. At number 6, Daniel Radcliffe. We all know Daniel Radcliffe for his iconic role as Harry Potter, but what we have neglected to realize is that he's been in the public eye since he was a child. Kicking off his career as the boy wizard back in 2001, he made a lot of money as a star of one of the most successful film franchises of all time. Though he became very rich and successful, Radcliffe also has had his share of scrutiny from the public. All the money and fame that he has can't take away from the struggle Daniel has had with fame since being a child. Speaking out about those struggles, Daniel has said, quote, "People will boo you even if you're a child," end quote. Daniel isn't on social media because he chooses to keep that kind of negativity out of his life, and these days things seem to be better for the actor, but for a while he wasn't happy with his place in Hollywood regardless of his riches. At number 5, Avicii. Tim Bergling, also known as Avicii, was a DJ, producer, and musician well known across the world. His death back in April 2018 shook the music world. Although he was known for producing some killer music, he struggled a lot with his image. Even though he was one of the most successful artists in the world, and having sold over 10 million albums and having a net worth of $50 million, Avicii was known to struggle with his health and his fame, even going so far as to take a break from music back in 2014. The DJ went on to say that the partying
partying and wild times that are associated with his job are really what had taken the biggest toll on his health, and that he didn't enjoy that aspect of his job. During his break, he had 2 surgeries to remove his gallbladder and appendix, so he really did have a struggle with his health as well. Avicii sadly took his own life after struggling a lot with his mental health, and some believe that was mostly caused by his job and being unable to cope with his growing fame. At number 4, Britney Spears. I feel like this one is a given, especially after seeing everything she's been through. But Britney Spears has certainly lived a life of being rich but unhappy. She is still a very successful celebrity, having grown up in the spotlight and growing into a global sensation, and she's become incredibly wealthy as well. However, because of the conservatorship that governed much of her life, taking away a lot of her freedom and forcing her to do things that she doesn't want to do, she certainly wasn't living life to its fullest. She's starting to regain control of her life now, and she's even getting married, but Britney's case is a tragic example of the dark side of fortune and how it can be used to control people and their lives. At number 3, Gigi Hadid. You would think that being a celebrity would grant you all of these amazing perks, and you would have so many friends because of it, but apparently that's not exactly true, and being a celebrity can be pretty isolating. At least that's what supermodel Gigi Hadid has said in regards to fame. Even though she's very rich and famous, during a 2019 interview with Elle magazine, Gigi has said that because of her job and maintaining her income, she's lost a lot of friends. Speaking on this, Gigi said, quote, "I've lost a lot of friends because I'll get busy for a short period of time and they're not reaching out, but if I don't reach out, then it's like I've changed," end quote. She said that because her work is so demanding, a lot of people don't understand how taxing it can really be, so when she disappears for work, some people don't really wait for her to return and just move on. To further explain her struggles with keeping her social life and work life in check, Gigi said, quote, "There are people who understand that I love them and who know that when I get back to town I'm going to call them, but sometimes I can't call every day because I'm in weird places. Because a lot of the time I feel suffocated by my own work ethic and by the expectations I put on myself. It's really nice when you have people who say it's okay to take time for yourself." End quote. Her work has taken over her life, but it's not like she can really stop working because she needs to be able to support herself and her family. At number 2, Megan Fox. Megan Fox had a really good career until she was essentially blacklisted after having her reputation tarnished by Michael Bay. She made a lot of money, but the downside to this success was the typecasting that she faced as always being the sex symbol in whatever production she was part of. Throughout her career, Megan has been sexualized by Hollywood, and people have made comments about her appearance and personality, some of those comments being quite negative, and Megan has said that it's not fair that she and many other celebrities are just expected to treat this criticism as normal or part of the job. In an interview, Megan said, quote, "I don't think people understand. They think we should just shut the F up and stop complaining because you live in a big house or you drive a Bentley, so your life must be so great. But what people don't realize is that fame, whatever your worst experience in high school when you were being bullied by those 10 kids in high school, fame is that, but on a global scale, where you're being bullied by millions of people constantly. Not everyone understands that's the deal." End quote. I get upset just reading hate comments on the internet, so to experience that on a global scale is something that I couldn't even imagine. All the money in the world can't heal that kind of pain. And finally, at number 1, FKA Twigs. For singer FKA Twigs, she's had her fair share of grievances with her career, fame, and money. Though she's rich and successful, she still struggles with her place in the media. She rose to fame through her music, which already got her attention, but her high-profile relationships also sent her a new audience that affected her a lot. She experienced this when she was dating Twilight star Robert Pattinson. Because Robert had such a huge following, some of the attention rubbed off on Twigs, and a lot of that attention was negative. In an interview in 2015, the singer spoke out about her experience with fame in regards to her relationship, and she said that she was struggling with the public's perception of her. As soon as they went public with their relationship, Twigs found herself under a spotlight that she wasn't ready for, and speaking on this she said, quote, "It's really hard. I can't begin to explain how awful it is. It makes you want to stop everything sometimes. It makes you want to smash your face into a mirror." End quote. Though she was struggling with the public eye, she did however say that it was worth it because she loved Robert so much. The boost in popularity gave her more fans and in turn made her more money, but at what cost? At number 10, Dolly Parton. We're covering some of the richest celebrities, so of course we have to start with one of the richest yet most wholesome and unapologetic people out there, Dolly freaking Parton. Dolly is a singer, songwriter, actress, businesswoman, philanthropist, and just all around amazing human being. She started from nothing and now she has her own freaking theme park. Dolly has a net worth of about $650 million, which isn't as much as other celebrities included on this list, but it's still quite substantial. With her riches, she's been able to do a lot for herself and others, but how did she manage to acquire this fortune? Well, other than her businesses, a lot of her money has no doubt come from her illustrious music career. Dolly has sold over 100 million albums, which already made her a lot of money, but because her music is so popular, she has also had people cover her songs, which have boosted her income. One of the most famous cases of this was Whitney Houston's cover of I Will Always Love You from the movie The Bodyguard in 1992. Just on that film alone, Dolly made $20 million in royalties. Dolly's song catalog is also worth at least $300 million, so that certainly adds to her riches as well. At number 9, Kylie Jenner. Now this list is ranked with the richest celebrity at number 1, so you might be surprised that Kylie Jenner is only sitting at number 9. Well, that's because she's not as rich as you might think. Though Miss Kylie is very wealthy, she isn't the billionaire that we were led to believe she was. Back in March 2019, Forbes magazine dubbed Kylie Jenner the world's youngest self-made billionaire. This caused quite a stir because people started debating whether or not she could actually call herself self-made, or if she was even actually a billionaire. While the self-made argument is still up for debate, the billionaire thing has been disproven. Turns out that Kylie's net worth is only about $700 million rather than the $1.2 billion that was previously published. Now don't get me wrong, that's still a lot of money, but not as much as was previously published. As we all no doubt know, the majority of her earnings have come from her Kylie Cosmetics and Kylie Skin brands, which are super successful, but she's also part of the Jenner family and they're all rolling in the dough anyway. Before we carry on talking about more of the rich and famous people of Hollywood, why not take a quick moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, maybe consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Celine Dion. Now let's talk about this amazingly successful Canadian, Celine Dion. She makes Canada proud because of how successful she has become over the course of her career. With a net worth of about $800 million, you can certainly say that she's done well for herself. Celine has sold over 220 million albums worldwide, which has no doubt greatly contributed to her wealth and success, but another aspect of her career that has boosted her fortune has been her tours. Her most recent Courage tour sold out each of the 52 North American shows, and judging by the fact that Celine normally earns around $50 million in concert revenue, you can see why she's so successful. What definitely contributed to her boost in fame was her contribution to the 1997 film Titanic, where her song My Heart Will Go On became famous, but it also won her an Oscar. Between 2000 and 2010, Celine was the highest grossing entertainer in the world, and her shows around the world added to her great success. At number 7, Madonna. Moving on from one powerhouse female performer to another, next up let's talk about Madonna. Though she has had a questionable career as far as her scandals are concerned, that hasn't stopped her from becoming one of the richest celebrities out there. With a net worth of about $850 million, she's certainly as rich as they come. Madonna has been known to flex her riches by buying very expensive things, but there's no shame in that because she earned every cent of her wealth through hard work and a long career. Some of the most expensive things that she's been known to have purchased include pieces by artists including Picasso, Damien Hirst, Diego Rivera, and Marilyn Monroe. Madonna also owns around $100 million worth of real estate around the globe. On top of her earnings through her music and her investments in real estate, Madonna also has earned a substantial amount of money through her various clothing, skincare, fragrance, and accessory lines. At number 6, J.K. Rowling. Now although J.K. Rowling has become very controversial in the last little while, we do have to talk about her career and success because no matter what scandals she's been in, she's still very wealthy. How long is that going to last at this rate with people no longer supporting her is another topic for another day. Anyways, let's talk about how rich this author is. With the success of the Wizarding World franchise, J.K. Rowling has become one of the world's most successful celebrities with a net worth of around $1 billion. This all came from the success of the Harry Potter books, which has sold over 500 million copies worldwide, being published in different languages and loved by a large audience. With the success of the books, the series got incredibly successful film adaptations, as you no doubt know, and this also generated billions of dollars at the box office. Now JK is known to be quite private about her finances and has denied being a billionaire in the past, but the public has the facts and she's a lot richer than she claims to be. At number 5, Sir Paul McCartney. Now you don't get to become a Sir for no reason, and Sir Paul McCartney has certainly proved that he is deserving of such a title. He's one of the most successful musicians in history and has a net worth of about $1.2 billion. Though he first got his success through the Beatles, who sold over 600 million albums worldwide, he was also able to boost his own success as a solo artist, having released countless successful hits and having sold out tours worldwide. In a year, Paul earns $50 to $70 $90 million, with a lot of those earnings coming from royalties generated by his own songs and copyrights to thousands of others. Though a pretty big financial mistake was made when the publishing rights to the Beatles songs were sold, McCartney was certainly able to bounce back with his earnings from his solo career. With that in mind though, imagine how much richer he would be if he was still able to earn royalties from the Beatles songs as well. At number 4, Jay-Z. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the rap world and one of the artists who's dominated much of that side of the music industry. We're talking about rapper Jay-Z. Now he doesn't often flex his money as he's really not all that boastful, at least not compared to other artists like Kanye West, whom we will talk about later. It may surprise you that Jay-Z actually has a net worth of about $1.3 billion. Obviously the majority of his riches comes from his music career, but there are other factors that play into his large net worth. Jay-Z seems to be quite a savvy businessman and investor. He sold portions of his companies to big conglomerates for hundreds of millions of dollars. He also owns equity stakes in some of the world's biggest companies like SpaceX, Outly, Uber, Sweetgreen, and Ethos. And on top of that, when you combine the rapper's net worth with that of his wife, their total net worth approaches nearly $2 billion. Jay-Z and Beyonce also own hundreds of millions of dollars worth of art and real estate, showing off just how well off they really are. At number 3, Kim Kardashian. Up next, we've got to talk about the one and only Kim Kardashian. Kim, much like her sister Kylie, has her multiple businesses to thank for her riches. It has been reported that Kim has a net worth of about $1.4 billion. Kim has had many businesses over the years and has other ways of gaining lump sums of income, but by far her most valuable assets are her makeup brand KKW Beauty and her shapewear and loungewear brand Skims. KKW alone brings about $100 million of revenue per year and is valued at about $700 million. She recently sold a 20% stake in the KKW Beauty company to Coty, the same company that bought Kylie Cosmetics, but even though she doesn't own 100% of the company, only holding about 72% of the company, Kim still gets a pre-tax stake of $500 million. Skims, on the other hand, is worth a lot more than KKW Beauty and has an approximate valuation of about $1.6 billion, and though Kim only owns about 50 to 60% of the company, she still has a pre-tax stake of about $800 to $960 million. So to those who doubt how successful Kim really is, the success of her businesses really says it all. At number 2, Kanye West. Now we can't talk about Kim K without talking about her now ex-husband, kind of, Kanye West. Now Kanye's net worth is debated by some depending on what sources you look at. According to Forbes, the rapper's net worth is sitting around $1.6 billion, but another source clocks it in at $6.6 billion. Now I know that is a huge difference in numbers, but honestly, you don't have to think about it too hard because either way, he's freaking rich, so that's really all that matters here. Kanye's large net worth is thanks to a number of his assets, from his music catalog that's worth $110 million, to his real estate holdings worth $100 million, to his Yeezy brand that's worth $3 to $5 billion and generates over $1 billion in revenue. From all sources of income, Kanye brings in about $100 to $200 million annually, so again, he's super rich. What helps out the most when it comes to his earnings from his Yeezy brand is the fact that he owns 100% of the company, so everything that is earned goes completely to Kanye. So yeah, he is super rich, but I'm pretty sure we already knew that, just maybe not how rich. And finally, at number 1, George Lucas. According to sources, director, screenwriter, and producer George Lucas is the richest celebrity in the world with a net worth of around $10 billion. We all know him as the brains behind the Star Wars franchise, so it comes as no surprise to see just how much money this franchise has made him. Much like Kanye West, George owned 100% of the rights to Star Wars, so everything that the franchise made went back to him. However, in 2012, he sold Star Wars to Disney for $4 billion in cash and stock. This was a pretty good business decision since he not only made billions off that sale, but he's never sold a single Disney share, and with the company booming, he just keeps raking in the money. A very smart choice on his part.